Good morning. Thanks for tuning in. You're watching the F&O Show on Bloomberg Quint Live, India's first digital live streaming business news service. I'm Navneet Saluja D'Souza.
Good morning, Navneet. I'm Agam Vakil. Well, Navneet, for now, the markets have certainly lost out and they're not looking very well right now.
Not at all, Agam, and the selling pressure is only intensifying as we speak. So let's take you through the cues in the futures and options market. The rollovers so far have been slightly on the higher side. Nifty rollovers are at about 44%. Nifty is trading, by the way, around the levels of 11,260. So last 3 to 4 attempts to breach the 11,300 mark, and we were defending that mark. But clearly, markets seem to be in control of the bears this morning. We have breached the 11,300 mark, and there is some bit of OI build-up, which is visible for both July as well as the August futures. Pull up the Bank Nifty. Yesterday, it did underperform the Nifty, which was down half a percent. It's down another 0.5% in today's session. The rollovers for Bank Nifty are also somewhere about 40%, and July futures for that one are seeing open interest addition of about closer to 15%. And the volatility continues to inch higher in the last 4 to 5 sessions. In today's trade, India VIX is now inching very closer to that mark of 14. The market breadth is pretty much weak. The broader markets are also reeling under pressure. There you go. The gap is only widening. That's the entire listed universe on National Stock Exchange. There are more declines compared to advances as we speak, and majority of your sectoral indices have been trading with cuts. That's the mid cap as well as the small cap index, but the metals, auto and the realty pack have seen sharper cuts coming about. All these three indices have seen cuts of about 1% to 1.5%. But today is the penultimate day of the monthly expiry, which is tomorrow. So let's tell you how are the positions panning out on the options side specifically. Maximum open interest on the call side, it is at the 11,400 call, and on the put side at 11,300, but it's inching. Also, there's a lot of addition which is coming at the 11,250 as well as the 200 put strike, as there is unwinding which is coming at 11,300 put. Remember, we've breached the mark, so put writers will be running for cover as the index trade below that mark. And if somebody were to once again play a short strangle, which we've been highlighting since yesterday, the range that we are getting is between 11,200 on the downside to about 11,400 on the upside, and the combined premium, if you look at the 11,300 call, it's added 20 lakh shares. That's having open interest, a premium of about 26 point. And now the 11,200 put is at about 19 point premium. So combined premium somewhere about 50 points. So from current levels, we can see movement of about 50 points up or down right now.
Well, Navneet, all I can say is that a lot of traders out there were actually talking about 11,300. And instead of the puts being written, now we're starting to see those calls.
Yeah, exactly. The positions are reversed this morning.
Yeah, so it certainly is a little bit of a concern. But let's talk about some stocks which are actually seeing an increase in open interest and possibly some shorts building up too. So we do have BHEL, which is right at the top. Firstly, the top 4 other 5 top gainers on the F&O segment are all losing out in trade. And for some like M&M Financial, where the losses are significant, that's down 12% with 17% added in open interest, with tomorrow being the expiry. So there certainly seems to be a lot of weakness in store for M&M Financial in the near term. Indiabulls Housing Finance is the other one under pressure, as is the case for Britannia. Both of them seeing shorts too. HDFC perhaps one of the few counters on the Nifty 50, holding on with some longs building in. And I'm sure there will be a long list when it comes to those stocks which see unwinding too. So let's pull that out as well. And JSPL, Dish TV, Voltas, all seeing significant unwinding. But Dish TV in this case may require mention because that's actually seeing short covering. JSPL, on the other hand, a lot of longs unwinding from earlier on. So, well, things certainly not looking good, Navneet, for now. Even with those which are seeing increase, there are more losers and compared to gainers.
That's right, Agam, and a lot of stocks moving around, but specifically 3 stocks where we would like to take views from our experts before we get them on the show are M&M Financial, one of them. The stock's down almost 20% in last 6 sessions. Today, of course, it's reacting to its earnings, where the asset quality deteriorated for the first quarter and the profits were also down 74%. The other one reacting to numbers is Torrent Pharma, better than expected earnings. It snapped the 5 5-day fall. In fact, if you look at the margins, they improved by almost 127 basis points, and the profits for the quarter were up about 32%. The other one, Shriram Transport, that comes out with its numbers today, and it's been very weak ahead of the earnings. In fact, today is the third straight day of fall for the week now. The stock is down almost 10%.
Okay. Well, it's time to get in our experts, but before that, here's a reminder. If you have any queries regarding futures and options, you can call us on 022-454-04141. And of course, you can also write to us on Twitter, Facebook with the AskBQ hashtag. We're also streaming live on YouTube. Let's welcome in our experts today. And we have Brijesh Singh of StockAxis and Amar Singh of Angel Broking joining us on the show. Good morning to both of you, and thanks for taking the time out. Amar, I start with you. Your view on the markets. Where do we go from here?
Yeah, looking at the way the markets have corrected, technically I would say that looking at Nifty in particular, we see that 11,250, 240, that's a very crucial support zone, because if that, and it's very close to that level. So if that is taken out technically, then the next major level of support comes at around 11,100 odd level. So there, so sustaining below 11,240, 250 zone would mean that there could be a sharp correction towards 11,100 odd levels, because earlier also I have been saying that what we've been witnessing on the charts for the major indices, it's been bearish divergence, and that clearly seems that there is further downside. So these levels are to watch out for Nifty. On the upside, yes, now 11,370, 11,400, that's an upside resistance zone. So the bias definitely is towards going short, and bears are in control as of now. As far as Bank Nifty is concerned, again, Bank Nifty, if we look at Bank Nifty, is very close to its a monthly crucial support zone. So that comes at somewhere around 28,800 odd levels. So roughly around 150, 200 points from the current level. So that's a very crucial support zone, because if that is taken out and if there is closing below that, then we could see some real sharp correction further onwards. So I would say that 28,800 is a very crucial support zone. So what's likely to happen is that since the indices are close to the support zone, so there could be some temporary respite, but higher levels could be sold into. Till the time we don't see some consolidation and some closing above these levels consistently, above I would say 11,300 odd levels or so, I would say the trend definitely remains bearish in the short term, in the intermediate term trend as well.
Okay, that's the view coming in on these indices. Brijesh, good morning to you. We failed to see any sort of bounce back. We are in the expiry week as well. At little bit higher level also, there is fresh supply coming in into the market. So keeping in mind tomorrow being the monthly expiry day, would you advise taking any bet either on Nifty or in Bank Nifty?
Good morning, Navneet. See, a couple of days back, when Nifty was been trading somewhere around 11,350 or above, in your show, I have recommended Nifty going short with a stop loss of 11,450, and my initial target was 11,200. The target has come up. Why? Because since the bearish flag pattern formation on the shorter term time frame of the chart has indicates the level of 11,200. I'm still sticking on to the level of 11,200 as my target. And if someone wants to go fresh short at this juncture of 11,268 would be avoided, but definitely what Amar has said, any right should be used for going short. So my short, which I was been looking, if Nifty's future traded somewhere around the range of 11,290 or 11,300 and above, then one can go for a sell side with a strict stop loss of 11,360 and play for the target of 11,200. Only the problematic way is if anyhow, if this 11,200 Nifty give closing below that, then there are the chances that in a month of August, Nifty might try to touch a level of 10,900. But purely for this expiry season, use rights for going short at 11,360 as a stop loss, play for the target of 11,200.
Okay, Brijesh, fair enough. Then let's talk about stocks. You're looking to sell Ashok Leyland but buy REC. Can you take us through that?
Yeah. See, Agam, in a shorter term time frame or the hourly chart, a higher lows formation has been there on a REC, so which is giving a sign of a reversal. So somewhere around 146 or below, one can take a buy call with a strict stop loss of 144 and play for the target of 150. Time frame would be this expiry only. Another sell and the sell call which I am looking is Ashok Leyland. Ashok Leyland was been trading in the range of 77 on a downside, followed by 97 on the higher side. Now this range has been broken, and the stock today has made a new 52-week low. With that too, with increase in volume, which indicates more pressure would be there in coming days. So for this expiry, which I am been witnessing 72.5 around, the stock has been quoting present rate or anywhere somewhere around 73. One can go for a sell side with a strict stop loss of 74. Play for the target of 69.
Okay, so those are some individual stock future ideas coming your way from Brijesh. Amar, what about you? You have 2 long calls for today.
Yeah, the first one is Indraprastha Gas. If we look at this particular stock, what we are seeing is that in spite of the heavy correction which we witnessed in the markets, this stock has been holding strong. And also technically, if you look at the charts, I would say the long-term trend remains positive. The intermediate trend is neutral to positive. And the short-term trend still remains positive for the stock. So currently it's around 322 odd levels. So any pullback towards 320 odd levels can be used as a buying opportunity with a stop loss of 313 and a target of 336 in the short term. And the second stock to look at is Dabur, again on the buy side, but not at the current levels, because what we're seeing in Dabur is that Dabur is positive on the intermediate term trend, short term trend. Long term, we are seeing some consolidation. So the trend still remaining positive for Dabur, but a buy would be confirmed only above 420 levels. So once 420 is breached, then around 421, one can look at buying Dabur with the stop loss of 409 and a target of 439 in the short term.
Okay, well, those are some ideas coming in from our experts, and we actually have 3 ideas which are towards the long and 1 towards the short. Let's move on and take stock of some of these earnings which have come through, and of course things have, pardon me, turned for the worse for M&M Financial. Now, well, usually all traders would want to avoid a stock which has declined so sharply on a day and wait for some amount of volatility. It's down around 11% for now at around 304 M&M Financial. And we're actually looking at a lot of shorts building up into the system. The question is, where do we go from here? Let's pull up a trend. Perhaps you can take a look at how our M&M Financial has performed over the last 3 months, 1 month. Of course, that sharp drop, it may have lost around 22%, but that sharp drop is because of today's move. And over the span of the last 3 months too, as you can see, against the daily moving averages, it was doing all right until today, when it did see that, well, downturn, and it's down around 30% in the last 3 months now because of that. Brijesh, how would you address M&M Financial? Do you think you would take fresh short positions even at these levels after the kind of down move we've seen?
See, Agam, no doubt the gap down opening has indicated more shorts. If we take a weekly charts, the lower highs formation has indicated prior this thing has happened, that the chances are that stock might drift to the level of, say, below 340 or even try to touch a level of 300. But right now, going short would be avoided. Definitely, any rise, one can go for a sell side because the risk reward ratio would be in your favor. So present rate would be avoided. But if someone wants to go short, then somewhere around 315 zone, one can take a sell side with the stop loss of 325 and play for the target of 285 or 290. That would be the positional sell side. But at this juncture of time, I would be avoiding for going short.
Okay, since it's already corrected around over 20% in last 6 sessions, so avoid going short, at least at current levels, as it's already seen a sharper cut in today's session reacting to its earnings. Stocks down about nearly 11%. Okay, some positive reaction coming after the numbers, and that's on Torrent Pharma. This counter was a week ahead of the numbers. In fact, it snapped the 5-day fall today, 5% higher. The margins did go up by almost 120 basis points, and the profits also rose by about 32%. The outperformance, I guess, came in on back of better geographical mix by the companies. But over a period of time, in fact, if you look at last 3 months of this year, it's been trading below its key moving averages. So we have seen deterioration for majority of the pharma counters. They have been underperforming the markets as well. So Amar, if I'll come to you for Torrent Pharma, it was weak in the last 5 to 6 sessions. On back of numbers, we've seen a bounce back today. Does that change anything on the charts? Would you recommend taking any position here?
Yeah, I would say that looking at Torrent Pharma clearly shows that the stock definitely seems to have found very strong support coming around 1450, 1500 odd levels. But again, on the upside, 1570, 1580, that's a very crucial zone, because if you look at the stock on the weekly charts for almost 6 to 7 weeks, the stock has been unable to close above that level. It did manage to breach above that level, but it was unable to close and sustain above that level. So clearly that's a key level of resistance. Technically, what we are seeing on the weekly charts is that the downtrend seems to be subsiding. The long-term trend for the stock remains, I would say, neutral. So the downside seems to be limited, but I would say that further upside rally towards 1640, 1650 levels would be witnessed only if the stock is able to sustain above 1570, 1580 levels consistently.
Okay, and well, yet now the stock where things are not looking very pretty as far as charts are concerned is Shriram Transport Finance. If it's currently at around 950 or 957 to be precise, the last time we saw Shriram Transport Finance at around 900 was in October last year. That's October 2018. And should we see a further correction falling to around the levels of 900, because that's the lowest. I mean, in fact, if you disregard that, it has been the lowest in as many months currently. So that is the next level that I'm keeping an eye on as far as the charts which are open to me are concerned. But Brijesh, I come to you on Shriram Transport Finance. The stock's certainly looking precarious. How would you address the stock? What levels would you watch out for?
Yeah, Agam, as we have pinpointed the Shriram Transport 900 odd level in the month of October 2018, stock made a low, and from there we have seen a bounce back, and stock made a high of say 1285 or 1290, and after that we have seen stock going again correcting way down, and now it's been trading somewhere at 953. That 900 zone right now has made a double bottom formation, and from there we have seen a pullback. But this time it looked like again stock might try to touch 900 odd level and try to consolidate this at 900 zone. So at 953, if someone wants to play short, but I think today is a result, if I'm not mistaken, the stock has to perform and it has to give closing above 1020 to move on the higher side. Till stock not trading about 1020, there would be a selling pressure. As you have said, 900 is a first support level which I would be looking, because it has made a double bottom and we have seen a bounce back. But if 900 has been broken, then the next important level to watch on the downside would be 825 to 840 zone. So at this juncture, trend has been down. Use rise for going short rather than going long on it.
Okay, that's Shriram Transport for you. Remember, this one comes out with its earnings today, so this too has been quite weak for this entire week so far ahead of the numbers. The other one, which is one of the top F&O losers I want to address, is Kajaria Ceramics. That stock's fallen quite sharply in today's trade. The numbers came in yesterday. The profits were up somewhere about 13 to 14%, I guess, but it's the management commentary which has spoke to markets once again with regard to this counter. They've cut down the guidance given for the volume growth for the entire fiscal to about 12 to 13 from an earlier guidance of about 15%, and we are witnessing some bit of short positions coming by for Kajaria Ceramics. In terms of moving averages, the stock today has slipped below its 200-day moving average, so it is looking pretty weak on the charts as well. Amar, at current levels of about 465, would you advise taking any fresh positions, or let's say if somebody is already holding shorts, is it time to cover?
Yeah, definitely it's a time to cover, because I would say 458, 460, that's a very crucial support zone, and there is a possibility that we could witness some pullback, but the pullback would be towards 475, 480 odd levels, again where we'll witness shorting pressure, because what we are seeing on the daily charts as well as the weekly charts clearly shows that the downside momentum is gaining ground, and the stock, as I said, is very close to its very crucial support zone. So if the stock sustains above 460 levels, then maybe we could witness some temporary respite to the stock, and the stock could consolidate and move towards 475, 80 levels. But if it breaches and consistently stays below 458, 460 levels, then the stock is headed towards 440 levels.
Okay, well, we usually don't discuss a lot of these cash companies, but there are a lot of them in the futures and options space, which are also under tremendous pressure in today's day of trade. And well, that said, let's take a look at some of the other crucial movers too in today's day of trade. And of course, I am looking at a lot of declines there. So while we have spoken about M&M Financial, Kajaria Ceramics, they're both down. We also have a little bit of pressure in Indiabulls Housing Finance. That's also one of the top losers in today's day of trade. It's down around 1.3%, open interest surging by around 14%. Let's see what we can do with Indiabulls Housing Finance, because it does get impacted because of several factors, systemic risks that can be a part of the NBFC space. Brijesh, your view on Indiabulls Housing Finance, how would you address this?
Agam, it's a high volatile counter, and the volatility for these stocks is very much high. So as the news comes up, the stocks moves either way by 50 to 70 rupees. Now, taking up a trend right now, the stock what I've been witnessing as a range of 570 on a downside, followed by 680, 85 on the higher side. So right at this juncture of time, 6:30, the stock is being quoting. So I'm not looking stock right now performing and touching a level of 680 or 685. If someone wants to go for a sell side, then keeping a stop loss of 655, one can go for a sell side and play for the target of 600 or even below to the level of 585. So a little bit trend has been down on a bearish side rather than on the bull side. Use rise for going short, keep a stop loss 650, play for the target of 600 or even 585.
Okay, that's Indiabulls Housing. In fact, yesterday also this counter saw a lot of open interest build up. It was down 1.5% in yesterday's trade as well. So there are some shorts being built up for this one. Let's start taking some viewer queries that we are getting. And the first one on YouTube comes from Akshat Lalka, and he has a query on PVR. Remember, in the weak market, this counter was up yesterday by about 2%. There were long positions seen as open interest went up across the series. In today's trade, it's not seeing any declines. But remember, this one comes out with its earnings tomorrow. So ahead of that, probably you could see some action here. Let me take this query to Amar Singh. PVR ahead of the numbers are slated to come out tomorrow, but this counter has outperformed the markets in last 7 days. Would you advise taking any bet here?
Yeah, I would say that looking at PVR technically on the charts clearly shows that the trend for PVR remains extremely strong and positive on the monthly charts. Even on the weekly charts, the trend remains positive. The daily charts, the short-term trend is very positive. However, what we are witnessing on the daily charts, I would say the levels, as far as levels are concerned, it had made a high of 1823 on 6th May, and then again made a high of 1829 on 20th May, and as recent as yesterday, it had made a high of 1804. So somewhere on the upside, 1820, 1830 is a very crucial resistance zone. So that effectively means is that those who are long, they should look at booking profits, because if it is unable to breach 1820, 1830 on the upside, then the stock could witness some profit booking. But sustaining above 1830 levels, then the stock is definitely headed higher towards 1900 odd levels. Now the stock has formed a very strong base somewhere around 1740, 1750 levels.
And a word on RBL Bank. We have a question on YouTube from a user who's interested in buying puts, if I'm not mistaken. RBL Bank has had a drastic last 1 or 2 odd weeks. It's seen massive weakness, a lot of decline coming in for the stock, a lot of depreciation in the value of the stock. Over there you have it. That's the reduction. In just 1 month, it's lost about 26% of its entire value, currently at 248. Brijesh, one of the final queries, I suppose, is on RBL Bank. Would you buy puts even at these levels for RBL Bank?
See, trend has been down clearly, and the stock has been making a low by low day by day. So at this juncture of time buying put would be avoided, because what I've been witnessing is that somewhere around 410, 420 zone, the stock has a nice support, and from there we can see a small pullback. So avoid buying put right now. If suppose someone wants to go for look for trading in options, then for 470, the call has been trading somewhere around 2 rupees or 2 rupees 50 paisa. They can go short at this juncture for expiry, and the stop loss would be somewhere around 4.5.
Just following up on that, since we've just received one more query on RBL Bank, at what levels, Brijesh, would you advise someone to go long here, considering it's beaten down?
410 to 420 zone is a nice support. So suppose someone wants to go long on the future side, 410, 420 zone, with keeping a stop loss of 405, look for the pullback. But I don't think with this expiry we can see this level. Next August series we might see a pullback. So 410 to 420 zone, one can go for a long with a stop loss of 405.
Okay, Imran, that should solve your query there. Just one last query coming in on Facebook. Brijesh Pandey writes to us. He's got Lupin August futures today at a level of about 740, and currently I believe those futures are trading somewhere about 738 or 39. Amar, what should be the stop loss is something he wants to know. These are August futures of Lupin.
Yeah, I would say that he should ideally have a stop loss below 727 levels, because that was a recent bottom that was made on 8th July, and the stock needs to trade above 755 levels for any meaningful rally towards 775. Technically, I would say it's flat across various time frames.
Just one last query. Shefali Singhal has just written to us. Brijesh, I'll come to you. Shefali is holding 5 lots of Nifty 11,350 put strike at 68. What would you advise her to do?
See, Navneet, as I've said, the trend of the Nifty has been down, and I have been looking target of 11,200. So I would definitely be suggesting to hold on somewhere around 11,200. She can book her profit in it.
Okay, all right, there you have it, guys. We've run out of time on the show, so I'm going to take a moment to thank both our experts, Brijesh and Amar, for joining us and taking us through their views and solving a whole host of our viewer queries. Well, on that note, it's a wrap. But don't forget to log into Bloomberg Quint, specifically the futures and options pages, where we have plenty of data for you.
Well, thanks for watching this show. You can stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint for more news and updates.